Hey everybody, Kenny Ducey here for the Action Network, ready to give you my favorite plays on Wednesday's NBA slate. This is Daily Action Picks for February 16th. Now first off, I want to stay right here in New York and talk about a matchup that would have been intriguing a few months ago. That is the Brooklyn Nets and the New York Knicks, two teams that have just completely fallen off. The Nets just came off an 11-game losing streak. The Knicks have won just 3 times in their last 15 games, and the Nets big 2.5, they're out for this game. Kyrie Irving, Ben Simmons, Kevin Durant all will not play. RJ Barrett is out on the other side of this matchup. So you may look at a 4-point line and say, well, you just got to take the underdog. But I'm actually going to be laying the 4 with the New York Knicks. You know, when they're favored, they're actually pretty good against the spread. 16-15 ATS this season, and that doesn't sound too intriguing, but when you consider the fact that the Knicks have covered in just 44% of games, it's actually a pretty good number. The Knicks did fall short over the last 2 games as favorites. They lost outright to Oklahoma City as a 10.5-point favorite, so it may not seem like the greatest idea to take them here, but they have played decently over this losing stretch. They've fallen off a little bit on defense, but so have the Nets, 25th over the last 2 weeks and 26th over the last 2 weeks, these two teams respectively. The Knicks were victims of facing some pretty tough defenses early on in this losing streak, like the Miami Heat, the Cleveland Cavaliers. They had to play the Jazz, the Nuggets, so some good teams. I think that this may be a better team than the recent record would indicate, but I think the biggest angle here that I'm looking at is the interior defense of the Knicks. You know, it's been pretty strong. Mitchell Robinson has been the only guy working well for the New York Knicks during this losing stretch. He's done a great job all season long of defending opposing big men, and while LaMarcus Aldridge certainly isn't as good as he used to be, he did pour in 19 points against the Sacramento Kings in that big win that snapped an 11-game losing streak for the Nets. He's one of the biggest impact players in that game. He also had guys like Bruce Brown scoring inside in the paint around the rim against the Sacramento Kings, a team that's very weak inside. You know, the Nets only hit 9 threes in that entire game. So if they're going to try to attack inside, I think it's going to be a little difficult for Brooklyn to score. And while they did have a big win over the Sacramento Kings, it is the Sacramento Kings. I think they're a little bit overvalued here coming off of a nice win with their first game with Seth Curry. I think that they're going to come back down to earth a little bit here. The Kings are still clearly a tier below the New York Knicks, and while they don't have RJ Barrett and perhaps Nerlens Noel, the rest of the team is pretty healthy, and the Knicks have some good scoring bigs and good scoring wings. So I definitely think that the Knicks can pull this cover out of 4 points against a sorry Nets team. Now I'm going to be laying the points with another favorite. I'm going to take the Bulls -6. I really like this at -5 this morning. I'm still willing to lay the 6 points against a Sacramento Kings team that, like the Nets, may be relying on some interior scoring in this game and going up against a very strong defensive front court. I'm talking about Domantas Sabonis. To no one's surprise, after acquiring Sabonis, they've decided to go to him and make him their primary scorer in this offense. And really, it's going to be difficult sledding here against Chicago, a team that ranks 9th best in restricted area field goal percentage against them. And they do still have the 6th best offense over the last 2 weeks, despite the fact that they've been dealing with a lot of injuries. They have not had Lonzo Ball. They will not have him again for this game, along with Alex Caruso, and Zach LaVine is out as well. But they still have plenty of great scorers. Vucevic has been great on both ends of the floor. I think he's going to be an impact player in this one, especially on the defensive end, locking up Sabonis, but also scoring inside against a soft Kings front court that we just talked about. Let up so many points to LaMarcus Aldridge and some of the Nets guards. And I also do think that DeMar DeRozan will have another big game against a soft Kings defense. They still have the best player on the floor, in my opinion. So I like the Bulls to cover the spread. I also like the Knicks to cover the spread. And I would like you, if you agree with me, to feel free to like this video. You can also comment below. If you do not agree with me, we can have it out and talk about these matchups and some of the other games on the card. Feel free to follow me on Twitter at Kenny Ducey. Check out some of our amazing content on actionnetwork.com. We can also check it out right here on YouTube and, of course, the Action Network app. Until next week, so long.